Hi guys, so we are with Simon Lane, who has built the Lotus Esprit. Well, it's the Encore, isn't it? Basically, it's
Encore Series
Encore
1.
Series 1. Yeah, and I've got an Esprit myself. I've got a Turbo S. So I'm going to ask you the questions that the Lotus owners are going to want to ask. So most importantly, what am I going to expect if I drive one of these compared to my old Lotus? I mean, obviously the handling on my Esprit is absolutely fantastic. I would say actually has that go-kart feel to it.
Yes.
So what have you done with this to do the same?
So you're going to feel that go-kart feel when you drive it, because we have respected the chassis, the steering and the suspension geometry. So we use an Esprit V8 as a donor vehicle. And we've actually been working with one of the engineers that worked on the Esprit V8 project on ride and handling. So one of the things you'll notice is that we haven't changed the wheel size and the tyre size either. So we've kept that tyre wall that was on the Esprit V8. They're exactly the same wheel and tyre size.
Excellent.
And we have used Bilstein dampers from the Esprit Sport 350. So they're the same ones, obviously brand new. And IBAC springs. We actually originally put the Sport 350 IBAC springs on, but because we're so much lighter, the car sat very high. So we had to come up with a bespoke IBAC spring solution for our car. The steering, which you touched on, we keep the original Esprit V8 rack, but we completely refurbish it, so it's as brand new. So the chassis is vapor blasted and coated, and we retain it. The steering we keep. The suspension geometry is new, although the components are new. Sorry, the suspension geometry we keep. And then everything else I've mentioned has all been about taking weight out of the car. So we have followed very much the Colin Chapman approach of how can we make it lighter. So we have keyless entry, which you might think is there as a luxury feature, but we actually put it in because it saves weight. So by not having door handles, we saved a little bit of weight there. So in total, over an Esprit V8, an Esprit V8 is 1,380 kgs wet. This car's just over 1,100. So we've taken a significant amount of weight out.
Excellent, excellent. And you're keeping the original backbones chassis then? You're not going carbon fibre?
We do that because we do that because we need to retain the donor car's identity for type approval purposes. So if a customer in America buys one of these, we bring a US registered car in, carry out the conversion and send it back to the US still registered as an Esprit V8, same as if you did it here. So it's very important we keep the chassis. Frankly, we don't really need it because the body shell is so rigid. We can probably manage without it, but yes, we do keep the chassis.
Excellent. Okay. And the one thing I was going to ask you is, obviously it's got the V8. You're saying 400 brake horsepower. So have you still got the old Renault gearbox in there? We've
got the casing, but everything inside it is new. So we've worked with Southwest Lotus and Quaife in order to completely refurbish the engine and gearbox. So everything that's inside the box is new. There's a new input shaft, all new gear set. The first and second are completely different ratios from the original box. We've got new synchro mesh rings, new bushes, a new twin plate clutch and a Quaife limited slip diff. So the drivetrain basically is new and vastly improved over the original. It is still a 5-speed manual gearbox, and then the engine is taken back to block, vapor blasted and rebuilt. It's a 50-hour rebuild with a huge amount of change. So if you can see, we've got a completely new electronic throttle body. Can you see that there? So we've designed that in-house. It's made from the machine's aluminium casing. We have a new 36 engine position sensor on the crank, so we're getting much more information to our new engine ECU. So it's meant we've turned the power up a bit. We haven't gone crazy. We've gone from 350 up to 400 horsepower, which in this car with 1,100 kilos is, we think, the perfect power to weight ratio for a fun road car.
Excellent. So are you planning on doing this with the other models? So like, for instance, my Esprit 88 car, is that going to be something you're going to offer? Or
so you won't be surprised that pretty much every person in the media and every YouTuber and influencer has asked us this question. We're trying not to get too carried away with what's coming next, because we've got 2 years of this car before we do the next thing. But yes, Encore has been created as a long-term business, and once these 50 cars are built, we will do something else. We genuinely haven't settled on what that is yet. I think we're just going to let the customers that buy this car tell us what it is they'd like to see us do, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, we have a long-term future, and it may well be that we touch other Lotus Esprit derivatives. We'll have to see.
Excellent. And what's Lotus's opinion of your car?
I mean, I still talk to people inside Lotus. I don't think they have an official position, but I like to think that what we're doing is complementing what they're doing. It's obviously very different from what they're doing in their main business, but yeah, we all love Lotus. I work for Lotus, and so did Dan, who designed the car, and we wish them all the best with what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say, because obviously Danny Baha, we don't really talk about him, but obviously he brought back the Esprit in the lineup. I think it was 5 cars that he was originally releasing, and obviously didn't get that far. Now this time, obviously you've done this. I think this is probably the closest to a modern day Esprit that we can have. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's an absolutely stunning car. I think you've done absolutely everything right. And I'd love to have a look inside it in a minute if I can, and see what it's like compared to the original cars. But it'd be great to try and arrange to drive it at some point and see what it's like to actually drive back to back with the other cars. But yeah, so I was just going to say thank you ever so much for your time, and cheers very much.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers,
okay.
Thank you. Right. Are you all right?
The price is 430.
God, it's still recording. What's the price?
It's £430,000 plus tax and an Esprit V8 donor car. So by the time if you bought one in the UK, paid VAT and bought a donor, about 560, 570, something like that is about what it would take to get into one. For one of 50 worldwide.
Yeah.
And obviously we're distributing them around the world. So I think probably in the UK there'll be about 15, something like that by the time we finish. Yeah.
And you are staying to just 50, are you? That's it, is it? Once they're made.
Of this model, yeah.
Right. And then you may do a sort of upgraded version or something else later down the line, I'm assuming. Yes. Okay. Excellent. Fantastic. Well, you want the original car, so if you've got the money, get out there, get it ordered. But I understand you're not making any more till next year. Is that correct?
No, we are building one. So we have one carbon body shell per month arriving from this month in our factory.
Okay.
So this year we will build just under 12.
Okay. And are they all sold all the places? They are.
Not all 50. We do have some slots left, but for the next 12 months we're sold out. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's what you meant about not to build until next year. I've got you entirely. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Right,
Cheers.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we're actually those are one of the components that we will change. So we're going to have bespoke aluminium ones. They're just not in the car yet. So there's a prototype 3D printed wheel on here for the seat, but that's going to be solid aluminium billet on the production car.
Right.
We're also changing the pedals and the door handles, so they'll all be machined from aluminium.
Oh, nice.
But everything else in the interior is production representative.
Right. Lovely. Excellent. And then you've got your tablet in the middle. Is that? And this bit here, what's the screen like on that? I mean, is that close to the original design sort of thing with the
so if you press the Encore marked switch with the logo on it, just behind the gear lever, press that, and then everything will boot up. And in the car we've got an all-new electronic architecture, which is made by our partner and shareholder Skyships Automotive. So Skyships make the electronic architecture and cockpit electronics for lots and lots of different supercars. So if you go and look at the Gordon Murray T33 that's here today, we've got exactly the same screen that Skyships make for that car in here. And we have a built-in 360-degree parking camera system. We have Apple CarPlay, which is integrated into the instrument cluster. So if you press the bottom right button in front of the gear lever on the screen, bottom right button.
Bottom right, sorry.
And watch what happens on the screen. Okay, so let's open the map up now on the screen, so the driver can see that without having to have a phone tacked to the windscreen or anything.
Lovely.
And there's a very high quality audio system. There's modern air conditioning. We've designed the car to be usable.
That's absolutely fantastic. I love this twist on the original binnacle, as it were, because obviously it's still pointed out at you exactly as the original one did. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Just for the sake of the battery, do you mind switching the?
Yeah, of course. Lovely.
It makes sense. New oil coolers. We've designed in some additional cooling here to prevent there's actually a chimney that's taking hot air out of the engine bay because we've exposed the engine and the parts for the first time ever on the screen. To check that all of that works. And we're happy with the cooling package. We are going through an OEM level test program.
What made you call this car?
A few brainstorming sessions thinking about names. And
The thing about Dubai is, like, if you have a bit of money,
something is very Lotus, so it starts with E, which most Lotus names have, all Lotus names have since the Lotus 11. And also it's 5 letters, so it just kind of fits on this car. And the name Encore describes what we do. We're giving this car a second curtain raise. So that's what we call Encore.
Thank you very much. Cheers for that. That's great. All in all, a great day out we had. Thanks ever so much for having us on Privé, and great to catch up with some of my YouTuber friends. And yeah, it's just a great day. This new video will be coming out soon with all the cars. But what a great day we had. Thanks. See you soon. Bye.